Alright, good evening everybody. Welcome to this evening's stream. I'm going to read out what tonight's stream is all about and the kinds of things we'll be doing. And then I want to do a little bit of a speech. I hate the word speech, but there you go, it is a speech. I'm not going to deny that. And then we'll get started with the stream and talking about rail news because it's the new month. And things like that. I mean, I say it's the new month. Last week was the new month as well, but my magazine hadn't arrived, so I didn't know any of the updated news, whereas now I do. First of all, then, let's start with the positive stuff. So, this is episode number 28, if I've done my mathematics correct, and we're going to be doing three things tonight. We're going to be building Phase 2 of the Gardcity Orbital Road, which you'll see in just a second. We're going to be building the new rail link between Grundhead Apollonia, I think it's Grundhead Apollonia, and Wontford, so part of the connection that we built last week, we're going to continue with. And we're going to start planning out the reconstruction of Nuthill City Centre. We're not going to do the reconstruction of Nuthill, but we're going to at least look into what sorts of things we will have to do, because I think next week will be a better week, because I'll be in a better mood. Which kind of leads me on to what I was going to say at the beginning of this stream. I'll have the music on for this because why not? So, end of last week, I gave a very passionate speech about... hang on, let me just check that we are... Yeah, you are seeing what I'm seeing. Last week, at the end of the stream, I gave a very passionate speech about people doing their bit for the channel. And the main context of that was, if you like the videos, please hit the like button, please hit the share button. And actually, I used to say that the like button was the most important button on the channel, but now I think the share button is, because what's the point of you liking something and then not sharing it? And I used the example of me and my brother, we're constantly sharing new channels with each other all the time. And I'm learning about new channels because of that, and my brother's learning about new channels because of that. And it's also a good way to interact with people. You know, I don't see my brother that often because we both do separate jobs. But when I do see him, we tend to just sit down and watch YouTube together for an hour or so. And it's not always great content, but, you know, we do our best. Anyway, the whole point of that was I want you guys to help me out. And we are so close to 1,000 subscribers now. We are so close. And yet nothing's changed. Between last week and this week, nothing has changed. The subscriber count has actually dropped by 1 since last week. The like count on last week's stream for the first day was really good. It was 111 views and 11 likes the last time I checked. And that was like 6 or 7 days ago, I was going to say, but that can't be right. It was about 3 or 4 days ago, because I was on a Discord call at the time. Because I remember reading out, because it was funny. Now it's 139 views and 11 likes. So it's just 11 likes. And that to me suggests that there should be 11 shares as well. And there aren't. But the view to like ratio is still very, very low now. I mean, it was technically 10 to 1. Now it's like 10.5 to 1, give or take. And yeah, the share isn't very high. The share isn't very high. But I also said at the end of last week's stream, I'm going to try and keep this brief. Trust me, I am trying to keep this brief. I also said at the end of last week's stream, if you have any ideas for future streams, leave them in the comments section down below. And people tried to suggest things at the time, and I said, no, don't suggest it now, put it in the comments down below. Obviously that message got lost in translation, because as of yesterday, I put up a Reddit post saying, hey, you know, tomorrow's the big stream and I'm still struggling for ideas for the stream, so if you have any ideas, feel free to comment below this or comment below the video. And no one read it. As simple as that. No one read it. And I had no ideas. I got given no ideas, and this week's stream very nearly got cancelled. I'm sort of half-arsing it this week because I wanted to stream. I was looking forward to streaming. But I just needed some input from people, and I couldn't even get that. And I'll put it in context. You know, last week was my 1-year anniversary on Reddit. I put up a little post on my Reddit community saying, you know, it's my 1-year anniversary. No one replied. I put up a little post as well the week before because it was my... Was it the week before? Yeah, I think it was about the week before. Because it was my 6-year anniversary as a YouTuber. put that up on Twitch, no one replied. This week I had a little mix up with my scheduling, so 3 Factorio videos went up at the same time on Tuesday, so I had to correct that, and also 2 videos went up at the exact same time yesterday, so I'm going to fix that for future weeks. But again, I put a post up on Reddit, no one replied. How am I supposed to get messages out to people when no one reads them? It's really frustrating, because now I feel like if I have to cancel a stream for whatever reason, I can't post about it anywhere because no one bothers reading it. And one of the problems with that is because the channel doesn't get shared very much, and the social media links, which, I mean, I do my bit. Every week I say about subscribe to the Reddit community and things like that. No one does it. And it really does frustrate the hell out of me, because how am I supposed to communicate with my viewers if my viewers don't give me avenues in which I can communicate with them? So, I think things are going to be changing in the not too distant future. Comments have been re-enabled on my videos on a trial basis, and we will see how that goes. The main sort of catalyst for that is it seems that is the only way I can get people to actually communicate with me, is to enable YouTube comments. And even then I'm braced for a barrage of negativity, which is exactly how things ended last time. But also last week there was a couple of people that wanted to do a little bit of backpatting and tried to convince me that they'd done their bit to share the channel. No, you didn't. You know, one Reddit post does not constitute putting the effort in, I would argue, because, you know, I do that every week. Every week when I set up one of these streams, first thing I do is set it up on YouTube, which takes about 20 minutes. Then once that's all done, I go on Reddit and I post on my Reddit community and the OpenTTD Reddit community. Then I go on Twitter and post it there. Then I go on Facebook and post it there. And depending on the game, you know, I post it everywhere that I possibly can. When I upload a video, I'm not doing it as much now because people weren't responding to it. But it used to be when I uploaded a video, I would post it in all those avenues as well. Now I'm just sort of getting lazy myself, and I'm thinking, well, what's the point when no one looks at it? So I'm doing it less and less now, which is my fault, and I'm working on that. But it's why I say to you guys, can you do your bit, please? Like, please, can you do your bit, and don't just post in the chat that you've shared it once, because there's 3,000 videos on my channel, give or take. So posting one video in a chat that was already posted in, because I mean I posted it in the OpenTTD Reddit community, and then the next day there was no context, there was no description, there was no hey, check out this channel. It was just a link, which is spam. That constitutes as spam. So yeah, I want people to bear that in mind. And I know we're starting negative this week, but I'm getting to the point now where things have to change around here. And I said it last week, and nothing changed. So I'm saying it again this week, and if nothing still changes, then I'm going to have to act on it. So, anyone tonight who wanted to chat about things, do it. Do it while you can, is what I'll say, because in a couple of weeks' time, it may not be an option anymore. So, George wants to talk about things from his new book that he bought called Railway Metropolis. It's about all the different transport projects that have happened in London from planning to construction. I'm okay with that. If you want to talk about that, I'm okay with that. Because I think I've finished my rant now. I've made my point. If people don't want to listen to it, then don't be amazed or surprised when this series comes to an end. Because really, I would rather focus on things that yield results. And, you know, XVI is a good point in its history now, where I'm quite happy with that, and I'm happy to devote more time to that if necessary. Whereas M4J, as I said, 6 years is a long time to be spending your life doing something, and there have been no rewards from this. I've done it purely because I've found it a good hobby, but it's getting more and more tedious. And a lot of content creators seem to be having these moments lately, and I'm starting to understand them a lot better. So yeah, anyone out there who is sitting watching this, either live or playback, thinking, well, I did my bit, I really would argue that I don't think you have done your bit, because the channel still isn't growing. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Channel still isn't growing. It's stagnant. It's stale. And I've started uploading my content again. So you know, Factorio's back. Planet Coaster's back. What else is back? I mean, Train Simulator has been uploaded for the last few weeks. And there are new series that will be starting in the near future. So there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of hard work gone into it. And there's a lot of stuff that I'm going to be experimenting with as well. Because ultimately, even if there's no audience for it, I still want to experiment with things. Because chances are I can use it in a future job when the YouTube dies down a little bit. So, yeah. That was the point I wanted to make at the start of the stream. And again, there'll be people sitting there thinking, but I did my bit. And I would ask for the evidence of that. I would ask for the evidence of that. And the other thing is, I mean, I said last week, people go very quiet when I start asking for people to do their bit. I think I just heard a pin drop. It is that quiet in this stream right now. How do you get live streams from Twitch onto YouTube? Do you tell OBS to stream both to Twitch and Twitch file on your computer, or do you download the stream and upload to YouTube? Bit of everything. A bit of everything. So, Train Simulator, those streams that have been uploaded to the channel, they were streamed live on Twitch, and then those video files were exported from Twitch onto YouTube and were then cut down. Actually, no, they weren't cut down. They were just it was a straight export. They were exported as private videos, and then I scheduled them to publish over the next few weeks, which is what they did. The RimWorld videos, which is the other series that I forgot to mention, that one was one big live stream. It was a 9-hour live stream that I then put into a program to split those videos, or split that one video into 9 smaller videos of an hour and a bit each, and then they were uploaded conventionally. This streaming to YouTube, it just stays as a YouTube video. And then the other one I do is, if I stream something where the stream quality wasn't great, I tend to record it at the same time, although on my laptop I stopped doing that because it was causing more problems than it was solving. So I then take that file that was created when I streamed and recorded at the same time, and then that's what gets uploaded onto YouTube. So that's why some streams can get cut. So either content gets cut completely, or a 6-hour live stream can get cut into 6-hour long videos, or you know, the intro and the outro to my videos can be added in. There's lots of little tricks like that. So if anyone wants any advice on that sort of thing, there's a lot of good tutorials, but you know, always feel free to ask as well. But yeah, that's a good question. I like those sorts of questions. People think it's easy, little things like that, but I mean, it can be easy if you have a good setup, but a lot of the time it can also be quite difficult. Yeah, any questions about video making as well, feel free to ask. There's a new XVI series actually that's going to be starting on the XVI channel tomorrow, I believe, which is like a behind the scenes look at some of the podcasts that we made. So anyone who's watched the XVI podcasts and wants to see some of the content that perhaps didn't make it into those videos, you're more than welcome to check out that channel and those videos. Flash has reached an end-of-life stage and support for it will be dropped by the end of 2020. You have an interactive navigator that uses Flash. Do I? Could you port that to HTML5? Are you talking about on my website? Because that was made on Animate, not Flash. And was made using the HTML5 canvas. If it's Animate that's not being supported anymore, that's news to me, because Adobe certainly haven't told me that. I'll be a little bit miffed if that's the case, actually, because I was going to make all my other animations on that. I did read out what we were doing today, didn't I? Yeah. We're building the second phase of the Gardcity Orbital road right now. I was doing that whilst I was ranting. I will go through rail news in a little bit as well. Once we finish this part of the episode, I'll go through some rail news while I'm starting the second part of the stream. But yeah, sorry it started negative again. That's the last time I'm gonna apologise for it though, because I feel like it's justified. And like I said, there's only so many times that I can be disappointed, and that's the word, is disappointed. Not so much frustrated. I mean, I say the word frustrating too much when it's not really frustrating. It's just disappointing. People are so quick to jump on things. Like last week, so many people immediately like, oh, I shared it, but no, you didn't. And then if I say that out loud, like I've just done, people tend to, as I said, it's like the Homer Simpson meme. People back into the hedge and disappear. And the fact that no one's talking about it makes it even more annoying. Really, is no one's actually saying anything about it, which does make me question: is this series over? Like, am I flogging a dead horse here? Because I love this series. I really love it, and it's the reason why it's still going, because I love this series. But if I feel like enough people don't want it anymore, then it'll go, and it'll get replaced by something else. I think I said it last Thursday. There's other things that I could be doing on a Thursday night. Have I heard about the Southeastern franchise? Nope, I haven't. Chances are, if it's something that's happened this month, I haven't heard about it, because I only read the news at the end of every month. Yeah, this stream was very nearly cancelled for this week, because I just genuinely could not think of anything to do on stream. Have you ever considered putting an FAQ? It's one of those annoying things though, because questions do get repeated quite a lot, but not quite enough for it to be a frequently asked question. Because I mean, my problem is my memory means that someone will ask something now, and then this time next year someone will ask the same question. So it's not frequently asked, but because I remember it being asked but can't exactly remember when, I'll always reply with, I swear I've already answered that question. And I do realise it is impossible to trail back through, 6 years worth of content just to make sure your question hasn't already been asked. So I feel like it's sometimes unrealistic expectations to not repeat your question. But yeah, as I keep saying, my website is going to get redone, and that will be something, I think I'll be starting it next week, to be honest. Because now that the PC's all set up, everything's in place, everything's working, I'm going to redo my work schedule. Which is why I need to know if this series is going to continue or not, because if it's not, I'll put my time into something else. But I physically need people to say, I want this series to stay, or to use their actions to say that they want this series to stay. Otherwise, I will put it to bed and put my time into something else. But yeah, I'll do a frequently asked questions on my new website, along with a better download page with actual images that work, because I really don't like that website. It's over a year old now as well. It was supposed to have been up for renewal. An ITT was published in 2017, but last year the DFT asked for all the bidders to resubmit due to all of them being non-compliant. Well, that's good, isn't it? Competition has been cancelled and the bidders have spent £50 million. What a farce. Mind you, I'm sure there's a clause somewhere that if you're willing to bid for the franchise, then you do it of the understanding that the bid might collapse and you won't get your money back. So I'm sure the DFT are covered. You also got to remember the fact that we have just had a new government created. So, as I said last week, there are people who had opinions on the rail industry who are now no longer in those jobs, and there are people who have just joined the DFT who have differing opinions on the rail industry, and it's about finding the right balance between them. Franchisee will end in April 2020. I bet it won't. I bet it gets extended now. But yeah, last thing before we move on and just talk about what's going on screen. Next week. So next week there is no stream at the moment. There is no stream because I don't know what I'm going to do on stream. And I'm of the opinion now that if no one suggests anything, there will be no stream. Simple as. So if you want there to be a stream next week, I need you to get involved and communicate and tell me what you want to see. And you have a week. So yesterday is normally the cut-off. I'm going to give you until next Wednesday to make suggestions for what you want to see on stream. I think that's fair. DFT refused to rebid. To ask the bidders to rebid. Okay. I'm not really sure what all this means either, because I bet there's going to be something. There's going to be a plan somewhere that might not yet be public knowledge. It's like the one when Virgin lost, the West Coast, and because they appealed it, it was almost a, not quite under the table because that makes it sound dodgy, but it was like a very quiet franchise extension was given to Virgin, and then, you know, even now they still have the West Coast. It never got to the point where they retendered the process. What do the numbers and letters mean for each position in the service classification ID on your service schedules? What do the numbers and letters mean for each position? Oh, no, sorry, I know what you mean. So yeah, in the UK, we have service classifications. So passenger or empty coaching stock. And then there's a few, I think there's 3 different freight designations depending on what speed the train operates at. So there's like a 45 mile an hour, then there's a 60 and there's a 70 and things like that. Mine isn't quite as convoluted as the real UK example, because I felt like that was going to be a bit overkill. I'd spend more time doing that than I would actually running trains on my network. So the first number, 1 to 9, that denotes the type of train. So 1 is express passenger, 2 is stopping passenger or semi-fast passenger, is 3 light engine movement? I think 3 is light engine movement. I always forget what it's called. I think it's just called train classification. Mind you, that always comes up with things like yeah, train reporting number, it might be. Yes, it is. So 1 in the UK is express passenger, newspaper or breakdown train. Express diesel cars, snowplow on duty, light engine proceeding to assist disabled train. So in other words, anything that will run fast and not stop is classified as number 1. Number 2 is ordinary passenger, branch passenger or mixed train. So anything that carries passengers that isn't an express train. Rail motor loaded or empty, ordinary passenger or parcels, diesel car, breakdown train not on duty. So anything that doesn't have to get somewhere in a hurry is designated number 2, and passenger trains as well that aren't express. 3 is parcels, fish, fruit, livestock, milk or other perishable train composed entirely of vehicles conforming to coaching stock requirements. Empty coaching stock not specially authorised to carry Class A code. That has gone straight over my head. 4 is express freight. Doesn't mention a speed, but it does say that vacuum brake operation on 90% of the vehicles. 5 is express freight with 50% vacuum braked vehicles. 6 is express freight with 20% vacuum brake vehicles. 7 is express freight with no continuous brake, so unfitted I think is the technical term for that. 8 is through freight or ballast trains. 9 is mineral or empty wagons. That's what it used to be up until from 1962, and then from December 2017 classes have been: 1 is express passenger train, nominated postal or parcels train, breakdown or overhead line equipment train going to clear the line. 2 is ordinary passenger train or officer's special train. 3 is a freight train if specially authorised, a parcels train, autumn railhead treatment train, empty coaching stock train if specially authorised. 4 is a freight train that can run up to 75 miles per hour. 5 is empty coaching stock. 6 is a freight train that can run up to 60 miles per hour. 7 is a freight train that can run up to 45 miles per hour. 8 is a freight train that can run up to 35 miles per hour. And 9 is a Eurostar or other passenger train if specially authorised. And I say Eurostar, it says class 373. I think that's when it ran to and from Waterloo. Since High Speed 1 was introduced, or the High Speed Rail Link, was it Channel Tunnel Rail Link? I think was his official name in 2007. The designation might have changed slightly. Plus the 373s are also sharing duties with the 374s. So I imagine the 374s are part of that too. 9 is also used for things like London Overground. So if you have a train that runs between Highbury and Islington and Clapham Junction, let's say, that I think is also given the number 9. And then 0 is light locomotive or locomotives. So that's what the numbers mean. On my network it's a little bit different. So we have 1 is express, 2 is stopping or semi-fast. I think it's 6. What have I got for the freight? Let me check that. M4J rail freight. Yeah, 6 for freight I've used, and then I've also used 9 for certain things. Some have zeros after, so for example the freight would be 6A00. I've actually changed that now so that it is 6AXX, because I think zeros were too... in fact, I'll explain what the other numbers are in a second and you'll know what I mean. So yeah, those are the first numbers. The letters, so A, B, C, D, E, F, G. In the UK, that means route designation. So where are they going? So again, this might have changed now, but in the old British rail regions, E was Eastern, L was Anglia, M was Midland, O was Southern, S was Scotland, and V was Western. But on the Midland region, A is London, so anything with A in its designation is going to London. D is North Wales, G is Birmingham, and H is Manchester. On the Western region, A was London, B was South Wales, C was Bristol and west of Bristol, so Plymouth and Penzance were also designated C. In Scotland, A was Aberdeen, so on all the other examples, A is London, like the primary destination. In Scotland, A is Edinburgh. A is Aberdeen, B is Edinburgh, G is Fife, including the Fife Circle via Dunfermline, H is Inverness, R is express services between Glasgow and Edinburgh, and T is Glasgow from trains approaching from the north, had the designation of T. So it's basically, it tells you where the train's going. So the first number tells you what type of train, the second character in the designation tells you where it's going. So mine, again, because of restrictions in what you can and can't do in OpenTTD, they've been tweaked significantly. So I run it by lines rather than destination. So anything that runs on the Great Northern franchise, for example, because that's one I've been working on up here. So it's 2C00, C because it uses the capital line, 2 because it's stopping, 00 because, I mean, that's the placeholder one, and it goes from Bartholomew Square to Honningville using the capital line. So that's why C was introduced. But because I have a lot of trains using the same lines, it was impossible to have like each service with the same designation, because each service on a route should have a different designation. So eventually they just have random ones. So in freight I've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and they're just to denote different services basically. But I might redo that in the future. So I might say all freight trains that use the Great Western Route will have V in their title. All trains that use North Valley's route will have like N in their designation, and just try to keep it as different as possible. And then the final two characters are what train number of the day is that one. So for example, in real life you will have let's say Edinburgh to London will be LNER ran, so it'll be 1A, and then 01 will be the first train of the day, 1A02 will be the second train of the day, and so on and so forth. And some routes you can have up to like 60 trains a day operating that service, so you can go quite high. For me, I mean, there is a clock in the bottom here, but it was impossible to denote which train would be the first of the day and second and third and so on. So originally I used 00 just to say that they're all part of the same schedule. It doesn't matter which one's first, second, third, fourth. It would be cool actually if OpenTTD had a new GRF or a mod that actually did that for you. Scheduled dispatch might well do. I don't 100% know. I still like the idea of what Cities in Motion has. So you will allocate a depot to a service, and then it will pull a vehicle out of that depot and run that service. So it could be any vehicle that happens to be sat in that depot could be the one that ends up running that service. I think that's a really cool idea, but I don't know how easy that would be to actually integrate into the game. But yeah, so they were all 00s on my schedule, but then I thought 00 was a little too ambiguous, so I've changed it now so it's XX, because XX normally means blank number. And then, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many it might be. Whoops, did not mean to do that. Let's build a nice modern suspension. Yeah, I like that question too. That was a good question. I thought this bit of the road would take quite a long time to build, but we've actually gone through it pretty quickly. So we're going to move on to the second part of the episode quite speedily by the looks of things. But like I said, if anyone has any ideas for future streams, now is the best time to actually ask. And not ask. Now's the best time to say. Should I? Yeah, I think I should. First of all, this road here is going to get severed. And then that's obviously going to do that. And we're going to build a new junction here for this bit of the road, and then you're going to be a tunnel that possibly resurfaces over here. Oh yeah, the speed limit sheet. Yeah, if you go to, I think it was the Great Northern route was the first one I did the speed limits for. It tells you there what each one means, but basically IST means if switching tracks. So if you're approaching a junction where the train will be switching tracks, then that is its speed limit. So it slows it down gradually so that when it hits that junction, it can negotiate it safely, basically, which again is something that's not built into the game, but it's something that I've built into my personal preference for the game because I like things to be realistic. We don't need to do that. I was going to flatten the land there, but we don't need to do that. So if IST is if switching tracks, then IJT is obviously if joining tracks. So if something is joined on a from the junction, then that's why. What am I saying? I can't build and talk at the same time, guys. That's my problem. So yeah, IJT means if joining tracks. So if a train is joining that line, that would be its speed limit as it joins, and then it will gradually hit waypoints and speed itself up. IS is if stopping. So again, on the Great Northern route especially, Honningville and Punfingford Airport Terminal 1 both have platforms that are technically on the fast lines, and a lot of trains will pass through without stopping. But if there is a train on that line that is going to be stopping there, sometimes it will have to reduce its speed in order to be able to stop safely in the platform. So that's what that one is. And then what were the other ones? ID. Where's ID on that one? Single T, because that also appears on the Great Northern route. Single T means if it's a tilting train. So again, on the West Coast main line in real life, there are two speed limits on most parts of the line. 110 miles per hour if it's a standard train, and then 125 miles per hour if it's a Pendolino. So anything that has, or a Voyager, Super Voyager, sorry, not just Voyager, anything that has tilting technology can go a little bit faster than anything that doesn't have tilting technology. And because we at the time had Pendolinos and Super Voyagers running on the Great Northern route when I did these speed limits, I added that in as well. So tilting trains can go a little bit faster. So the speed limit is 125 miles per hour normally, but if you're in a tilting train, you can go 140. Yeah, what's ID? IT is if terminating. So if it's going into a bay platform, there'll be a slower speed. F? Oh, F is freight. Yeah, F is freight. So again, that might be on the Great Northern. No, maybe it's on the Great Western, because I knew that was going to be a freight line. No? It's somewhere. There's a freight designation somewhere. But yeah, tell me where ID is so I can look it up, and then I'll be able to tell you what it means. I feel like we should have like another road integration with this. And I was worried about building this line through here because I thought it was a bit too built up. But, I mean, I was on the M25 yesterday, and especially in the northern parts of it, it does run through quite heavily built up residential areas. So it makes sense to have it like this. I'm not against the idea anymore. It does make sense. Oh, you've also asked what the forward slash was. So there are some. The Great Eastern has this, I know for a fact, and I think the Great Western does as well. Big stations like Woolworth, which is this way. It has these waypoints here, Woolworth through, but it also has Woolworth Central as the actual station. So it's trains on the fast line this is mostly for. If they hit this waypoint, if their next waypoint is this one, then they'll have a speed limit of, I think it's 75. But if their next stop is here at Woolworth Central, then their speed limit is 45. So I put them both on the same line and then just put 75/45 so you can see if it goes to Woolworth through, then the speed limit is 75. If it goes to Woolworth Central, then the speed limit is 45. That's why that is how it is. So yeah, this bit of the road is technically done. We did it inside the first 45 minutes, which is good. Phase 2 was to connect it up to this area here over at Wenfingfield, because we do now have, with this junction here, a way to get coaches to and from Wenfingfield from Gardcity. So that's good. That's encouraging. You'll also notice on the screen, I set this up deliberately, there's no tip jar this week, there's no events list or any donation bars or anything like that at the bottom. I'm trying to make the screen a little bit less cluttered because I realised there was a lot of stuff that you couldn't see last week, like the finances bar and the messages here and the date and things like that, although I don't actually know if you can read those because they are quite small on screen. But yeah, any other questions on that sort of thing? We're going to have to build some road junctions here now. So that's obviously one there. We'll denote that one in a second. So junction 7 is all the way back over here. I think junction 8 is going to be maybe here, and then running into Fleffingly and on. I think that works. So I'll do all the one-way stuff in a little bit. Might as well focus on this bit first. So this one I'm going to make quite easy. Yeah, I'm going to make it quite easy. So it's got... Oh, is that a new follower? A new subscriber? Hang on. Let's not delete something by mistake. Let's go read what that is. Does it actually say? I don't think it does. Subscribers. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Streamlabs for YouTube because they don't have like events. They got donation history, members, things like that, analytics, but they don't have like the live events list like they do when they do Twitch streaming. That's a little frustrating. Oh, that was a Twitch follow. That's fair enough then. That was a Twitch follow. You guys wouldn't have probably heard that alert anyway, unless it is going through the... I don't know. It might go through. Yeah, keep the chat going, guys. Don't let it stop now. It was getting good. Oh, actually, do I want to... Yeah, I'll do it like that. You'll see what I'm building in a second. Let's build it like this, actually. Out of concrete. And again, this was inspired by a couple of junctions that I saw yesterday on the M25. I'm always looking out as I'm sort of travelling around. I'm always looking out and seeing if there's anything I can take inspiration from. I'll also ask now, those of you that are watching the stream currently, if you're able to, in fact everyone should be able to, there's no excuse for not being able to, hit the share button now and post it on social media. You know, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, 4chan, is that still a thing? I don't even know. You know, Bebo, MySpace, all the social media. Post it there. Let's try and get some more people to come in and watch. Could you do GUI font scale ×2 to make things easier on the viewer's eye? Have you ever tried that? I'll show you why I haven't done that. Because up until last week, you guys were able to see. No problem. I can't remember where it is now. Game options. I'll show you why I don't do it. So if I do double size, give it a second because it takes a while to load. Did you know there was a plan to link Crossrail with High Speed 1? I think I was vaguely aware of that. There's so many sort of speculative plans like that. I wouldn't even call them plans. I just call them like blue sky thinking. Someone sitting there saying, what if? I think that's what separates us from the Victorians, is back then they actually went and built it, whereas these days, a lot of the time it goes into a planning phase, in inverted commas, that never actually gets into a planning phase, inverted commas, because it normally gets shut down before it even gets started. Well, this is Exhibit A as to why I don't mess with the GUI scale, because it essentially has to reload the entire game right now, and then it'll have to do it again in a second when I change it back. The basic gist of it is it makes the top bar bigger and it makes the bottom bar bigger, but it also makes absolutely everything else bigger, and that includes all town names, all station names, all graphics, everything gets doubled in size. And on a 4K monitor, you end up with something that looks very stretched and pixelated. You guys won't probably notice it as much as I do, but it's very annoying. So yes, I have tried it. No, I didn't like it. And now I think I've actually crashed the game in changing it. So hopefully that answers your question as to why I don't do it. I actually think I'm going to have to build this road all over again. I should have saved before I did that. That was really dumb. Alright, talk amongst yourselves for a little bit. I could go through the rail news actually while we're waiting. That wouldn't be a bad idea. Someone give me a shout if it does decide to load. So the main headline news, let's start there because it's always good. Stadler Class 755s have entered into service, and the 745s have gained approval by the ORR to begin testing. So that's good. Steam locomotives could be banned because of coal burning and global warming and, you know, climate change issues. I mean, I'm a firm believer in climate change. I think it is a thing that we should be very, very careful about. But at the same time, I feel like some cars, for example, are allowed to still exist under the grandfather rule. I think steam locomotives more than qualify under that same law. So therefore, why shouldn't they be allowed still? Heat ruins everything. Old Oak Common has pretty much been completely demolished now to make way for the High Speed 2 hub that's being built there, which looks awesome. The designs for that, by the way, if you haven't seen them, they are really, really good. I strongly suggest you go check them out if you haven't done so already. The Flying Scotsman service between Edinburgh and London is now being used by ASUS, which is also very good. They even dragged Mallard out of the National Rail Museum to meet the first train at York, which wasn't the Flying Scotsman. I think it was the first York to London, or the London to York service was met by Mallard, and Flying Scotsman I think was there as well. I'm not sure if it was on the same day. £2 billion Midlands Rail Hub plan has been announced. So this is mainly to do with upgrading existing lines, building I think new viaducts in Birmingham linking the Camp Hill line to Moore Street. So more services will be routed through Moore Street than New Street. Oh yes, this is why I don't change the interface. And look at the top left. That is ugly as hell, that window. This save window looks awful. My plans thing has completely disappeared off the screen. All of this stuff as well is also moved, and even the bits that you would want to see, they look stretched because it's the same asset that's just been scaled up. So the pixel count is the same. So it stretches everything, and I think you'll agree this looks worse. So I will be changing it back to normal size right now. Great Britain Rail Freight, GB Rail Freight, they want HSTs for parcels traffic. I think that's a mistake. I think all HSTs should go to cross country, and the old 325s, which are the old Royal Mail trains, should be used for parcels traffic because, I mean, duh, that's what they were originally designed for. West Midlands trains are separating some services again because they tried combining them and delays meant that it didn't really work, so now they're splitting them up again. Pacers are going to continue into next year. Hitachi have won the East Midlands bimode order, which I think was mentioned on the stream a couple of weeks ago. I'm stop umming now because I know that's annoying. And then I change it to an instead. Right, Northern. Get rid of that. Northern have started using the new 195s and is it 317s? I think are the electric equivalents. They're interesting looking trains, the 195s. I don't really like them. I don't like how they look. I think they look a little bit... It's a bit like the Adventurers. They look a bit triangular on the front, which kind of ruins it a bit for me. But I don't know, maybe I'll warm to them. I like the fact that, I mean, the technology inside them is really good. And I do kind of appreciate the fact that they're not just recycled trains from London, which a lot of people in the north were getting a bit tired of. And I really like the way Northern have got the, you know, we're proud to be Northern and proud to be Northern written on the sides of their trains as well. I think that's a really nice touch because ultimately my voice might not convince you otherwise, but I am sort of part Northern. My family hail from Newcastle, or Newcastle I should say. So you know, I like to see a little bit of love and care and attention going into the north of England. Plus it means things like the Northern Rail Power Hub and things like that will exist, which is good. I do think the planning of High Speed 1 at St Pancras should have been made more provision for extra platforms at the station. More services on the Midlands main line to Leeds or other cities. They did. Essentially, they did. They future-proofed it. Not for extra platforms, but they looked at the fact that Thameslink project was also underway at the time. And the result of the Thameslink project, Thameslink 2000 it was originally called, and I think they did then just change the name to Thameslink project, would have meant less East Midland trains at the time services anyway. So I think they did know. They knew that it wasn't an issue. They knew not to look out for it because, you know, what's the point in spending an extra, you know, £500 million on extra platforms if they're never going to be used? It does seem like a little bit of a waste, in my opinion. So that's why that's not a thing. This is junction 8. I was just trying to remember, is it Gardcity Orbital? Yeah. There's 8, isn't it? It looks like a B. No, that's an 8. Plus, I mean, St Pancras, it's a difficult one because they don't actually have that much space. They kind of used all the space they had to build the station that they've now got. You don't really have much more space than what was available, even with the fact that loads of old buildings in King's Cross have now been knocked down. A lot of them have actually been replaced. The London YouTube hub, office, centre, I don't actually know what it's called, but that's in that area. It's literally opposite the glass St Pancras building. Changing GUI scale takes approximately 3 minutes. Yeah, any game where it takes 3 minutes to change one setting, not a fan. I would say that that's not very well optimized, but then OpenTTD has to change a lot of town names and things like that. It basically has to reload the game, like I said. But yeah, hopefully now you see why I don't want to change it, because it doesn't look very nice. Let's build this one elevated. I'm going to go quite simple with this one, I think. It's going to build it like this. So you're going to connect on that side, you're going to connect on that side. And you're going to be Gardcity Orbital, Junction 9. I will get back to rail news in a little bit. I was mainly doing it just to fill the time there while we were waiting for the game to load. Now the game has loaded, there's no need to worry about it too much. Should I build... I'm a real ditherer today as well. I think something like this would look good. Great Western Railway, 1830s. Brunel wanted the railway to be built at a gauge of 7 foot 1/4 inch, hoping to offer superior running at high speeds. Thankfully, the gauge was changed back to standard. Yeah, the only reason the gauge was changed back to what is now referred to as standard is because other engineers like Stevenson had built more mileage than Brunel had. Because actually, Brunel was onto something. He had some pretty crazy schemes himself. I mean, he tried to build an atmospheric railway, for Christ's sake. But the idea of broad gauge actually was proven to work. Trains ran faster at smoother... Well, they ran at higher speeds with a smoother ride. So, some people say, thankfully, it was changed back to standard. I actually think broad gauge, being the size that it was, would have worked. And we do suffer for it now. We do suffer for that decision because a lot of Euro locos can't run in the UK. For example, Eurostar 373s, the TGVM, I think is their French designation. They're a lot smaller than all the other TGVs in the TGV family because they have to run to UK loading gauges. So things like the Great Central Railway were built to European loading gauges, but then were converted back. And that converting back is what is now making life difficult for us, which is why companies in the UK can't just buy off the shelf stock from European companies. It has to always be custom built because the gauge is different and the loading gauge is different. So it's not just the track gauge, because the track gauge is the same as it is in Europe, but it's the loading gauge that's different. And I feel like that has cost us a lot. We as a country pay more for our trains than most other countries in the world do, simply because we can't use standardized designs. So again, that's just my 2 cents. That's junction 10. Junction 11 over here, connecting up with Dintown. I think this would be an important one because Dintown, especially with the 2 routes here, also with the Gardcity Connect services terminating here, the local towns will have to be connected up. So I think this is actually going to be a dual carriageway connecting up to this part. I'm going to try and be clever with this, and it's probably going to fail. But I want to try and be smart with this. So probably like this. You there, you there. So you're going to connect up to that one. You're going to connect up to that one. And then over here, can't do that. I think I've painted myself into a corner a bit here. Oh yeah, the other reason I'm gonna, defend Brunel till the day I die is, as I've said many times on this channel, I am a big fan. I don't think you can be a fan of Brunel, but I really admire him and the work that he did. Because so much in this country wouldn't be the same if it wasn't for Isambard Kingdom Brunel and his father. I mean, anyone who blackmails the French government the way Marc Brunel did, absolute genius. And the Thames Tunnel, of course. Which a lot of people, they hear the name Brunel and they think, oh, Isambard. But no, Marc Brunel designed the Thames Tunnel. They were just a genius family, and I think Brunel's son, Isambard's son, who I think was also called Mark, became an engineer as well. I don't know if he ever saw the success that his father did. The fact that I can't remember his name suggests that perhaps he didn't. But you never know. You never know. So you're going to go like that. You're going to get cut back and run underneath like so. And then you connect up like that. So that's junction 11. George, you asked if you could talk about the book. I said you could, and you've not mentioned it since. So, did you want to talk about the book, or not? Right, so yeah, this road, I'm not going to build it right now, but it'll basically run along the south here of Dintown, and then it will connect up some of the other neighbouring towns. Am I going to rebuild this section of track? Probably not. Probably not. I'll find another way to make it work. Chat's gone very quiet again. Alright, so yeah, that's going to go to there, and it'll probably run down that way, like so. There's no trains on this track right now, so I could, in theory, rebuild it and, you know, bridge it over the road here. I might do that, but not right now, because we're going to focus on junction 12, which is probably going to be here at Benfingfield. So we might have one at Benfingfield South, and then one at Benfingfield West, over here. They're probably going to be built very similarly. Something which I noted was that BR apparently planned to use St Pancras only for Channel Tunnel Rail Link and built a new King's Cross Midland station alongside the existing King's Cross. Yeah, again, I doubt that would have gotten very far. I imagine that might have got to perhaps artist's concept stage and then would have been just quietly cancelled. It might have worked, that's the thing, it might have worked, but King's Cross itself needed a major remodelling before anything like that could happen. That has now happened, King's Cross has been remodelled, but I don't think they'd have done it in time back then. You never know though. Again, I mean, my opinion and your opinion doesn't necessarily mean either of us are right. Since May 2017, as far as I can recall, Victoria Line London Underground has up to 36 trains per hour in the central portions. Yep, no, that's an absolute 100% fact. And the Jubilee Line is getting the same in the not too distant future. In fact, has it already? I know they were talking about it being... might be this year, next year. Something like that. But yeah, I think that's really awesome. Like, the Victoria Line was revolutionary when it first opened, and then it kind of got forgotten for a bit. The new trains in 2009 helped get some of the love back for it, and now that it's, you know, there's a train every 90 seconds pretty much at peak hours, which any railway that can boast something like that, a train every 90 seconds. We talk about Thameslink and Crossrail and how there'd be, like, there's a train leaving Farringdon every 20 seconds and everyone goes, wow, that's impressive. But Farringdon is going to have 6 platforms in, you know, the end of this year. So that's not that impressive when you work it out like that. But when you look at something like the Victoria Line and you say a train every 30 seconds, every train every 90 seconds, that's impressive. A minute and a half. A plane takes off from Heathrow pretty much every 90 seconds as well. So you never know, Victoria Station might become the busiest station in London in the not too distant future. That could well be possible. I didn't want to build that one there. I wanted to build it... Oh, never mind. I'm duping myself now. There we go. Right. See, oh, you need to come across one more still. I don't know whether it's the heat or just my general mood today, but I'm making a lot of mistakes. As I said, I was in a pretty bad mood when I set up this stream for the reasons that I said at the start. And I'm still in quite a bad mood because of all that. Every time I mention it, I always think this is the week where things are going to change. And then, you know, I get a stronger reaction every time. So it's something's working. But then the week after, it just pretty much goes back to exactly how it was before. And I believe it was Einstein who said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now, is I'm doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And eventually, enough's enough. So yeah, next week, I've already said this, but if there's no suggestions between now and next week, then there won't be a stream next week. And if there's no suggestions between now and the week after, then there'll be no stream then either. And that might end up being the end of the series. And also, I said it last week and I'll say it this week, I love an active chat. In fact, there's something I retweeted last night. Let me find it, because I think it sums it up better than I ever could. Let me find it. Those of you that follow me on Twitter, you'd have seen it anyway. That's not my Twitter, that's the XVI one. Yeah. So someone tweeted saying, I said it before and I'll probably say it again. There are many ways to support a streamer without opening your wallet. So in other words, for free. Talking in chat, lurking, hosting, retweeting, joining socials, telling a friend, and joining the Discord community. Now Discord is something, I have a Discord, and if people play, you know, if they join the racing series and things like that, they're invited to the Discord. I don't currently have an active Discord for viewers. I'm considering, or I was considering setting one up, but only if there were enough people to actually make it worth my time, and there haven't been. As I said, the important thing about that is it's all free. Everything I suggested on that list is free. It doesn't cost you a penny. And I don't particularly like lurkers. I would rather, if you're going to be in the chat, that you actually chat. But having more people in the stream makes it more likely that other people will see your stream. So that's always, you know, appreciated. Just being in the stream, even if you don't really talk much, just being in the stream and getting as many other people as possible to be in the stream and to hit the like button and to hit the share button. It makes such a difference. But it gets so demoralizing every week when I spend, you know, the best part of an hour setting all this up, and then another 2 hours actually doing it, and then like another 20 minutes afterwards getting it ready to upload as a YouTube video, and then only 100 people watch it, because it sounds like a lot, but it really isn't at this stage of a channel. What would you do if you had £1 million? I would invest most of that. Yeah, I'd invest all of it. I'd invest all of it. I mean, I'd pay off my student loan first and foremost. That's a high priority, because then I'll be officially debt free, and then I'll invest the rest of it. As part of the Jubilee line, it was suggested that the route should go via Charing Cross instead of Waterloo. Yep, because there used to be a set of platforms at Charing Cross, and there still are, that were served by the Jubilee line. The Jubilee line now breaks off the original Fleet line route just after Green Park. Was it Green Park? No. Yeah. Was Green Park on the existing? I think it was. But the Charing Cross platforms, it's been speculated for a long time now that the DLR will be extended from Bank to Charing Cross. I don't know about that one myself. Not as a single station extension anyway, but if it went onwards, I'd probably support it. But then it wouldn't really be the Docklands Light Railway anymore. It would be like the Docklands, the City, and whatever else light railway. Could work though. Could work. Who am I to say it wouldn't? Do this. Something like that. You'll notice a theme with a lot of these junctions now. They look pretty similar. This is me being lazy. As I said, I'm in a bad mood, so I'm just going to build a lot of things that look the same. You wait till we do the station building later, if we get to that point, of course. I think I might end this stream early tonight as well. I might go record some videos or something instead. As I said, today's not a good day. It's just one of those things. What are some stations in London that you've never been to at all? A lot. A lot. None of the South London network I've really been to before, apart from Clapham Junction, which I stopped at very briefly once. Same with East Croydon as well, to be honest. Yeah, there's a lot more that I've not been to than those that I have been to. Maybe one day I'll go and see them. Maybe not. I don't know. Genuinely don't know. That's more like what I wanted to do. Then here we'll do this, and we'll do this. Something like that. We'll turn this into a roundabout. Junction 15. Do I want to change? No, I don't think I do. I was going to build a junction here, but I think this one pretty much covers all of this. And we'll do something a bit like that. Let's do something different. That's really boring. There we go. Much better. And then you'll go up and connect straight into that. You'll go across like that. You'll go there. You'll go there. Alright. 19? 16. Where did I get 19 from? Yeah, 16. Alright, and then over here we'll have another junction. I'm going to build it like this. This is going to be one of those junctions where it only joins in one direction. So it'd be like a feeder from Grundhead Cross, running east only. Let me read that question in just a second. Okay, and then this is junction 17. Could you consider setting industry density funding only and setting primary industry construction method as other industries? Okay. Done that. And industry density funding only. There you go. All done. And I'll save it. So yeah, hopefully everyone who's watching this now has shared the stream. If you haven't, I'd suggest you do it now, because I'll be checking at the end. Do I want a junction here? I think I mentioned building one here, didn't I? Could I do that? Actually, I might make that junction 18. And do it. No, actually, no, I won't do that. I won't do that. Alright, that will do for the road then, I think, for now. I'll do all the one-way stuff off camera, because that's not particularly fun to do. So I might as well distract myself whilst I'm doing it. And then, yeah, there'll be a couple of other linking roads. So you got this one here, which now runs right the way up into Gardcity, by the looks of it. Or this is like the inner ring road that then... It's not that way. This way. That then runs into the centre of the city. So yeah, that's the first part of the episode done. I'm going to go tick that off, and I'm going to move over now to where the second part of the episode is taking place, which is up here. I'm hoping it's Grundhead. So that's Kylestra. Yeah. It's actually airport. Grundhead Apollonia Airport. Right. Phase 2 of Gardcity Orbital Road done. Now we're going to build the rail link between Grundhead Apollonia and Wontford, which is what we started to plan out last week. So if I open the railway construction tab, I'm not going to build a station at Garnwell on this new line. That's going to be for this set of trains only. Trains that are heading west, southwest. For that road you just mentioned, why are there two tiles between the lanes? I mean, it's not a bad question. It's I'm sure it's something that was explained in a video though. The reason I went then is because I realised I was just going to have to pan over to show you the reason behind it. And as you can see, the game loads very slowly. Even on this PC, actually, the game runs very slowly. If it's paused for a long time and then I unpause it, it takes a while for it to get going again, and I'm pretty sure that's a game limitation and not anything else. I think at the time it's because it was a suburban road, and there was stuff that ran through the middle. It might have been a rail line or something that ran through the middle originally. And these bridges are remnants of the old connection for the metro, which has now been replaced by the bus station here at West Terminal. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of why have you done it this way, why have you not done it this way questions, because it's personal preference, really. It's very subjective. I've built it the way I built it because I preferred to have built it this way, whereas you might have preferred it if I built it another way. But my answer to that is always build it that way on your own map. You know, both methods probably work fine. In this case, it's an aesthetics thing, so it's not like it affects the gameplay too much. And yeah, I just decided to build it this way. I think as well, like the M25, I always use that as the example because, you know, Orbital Roads is the only one I'm really... I know there are other ones in other cities around the world, but the M25 is the one I'm most familiar with. There's a lot of areas there where the carriageways split. The M5 down towards Western Supermare, the carriageways split. And it was just that. It's just where the carriageways split. There's no real reason behind it. There's no reason why I didn't do it any other way. It's just the way I wanted to do it, so I did it. Simple as that. Again, it's a very aggressive answer to a question, but I really don't like those questions because it's the question itself is quite passive aggressive. You're basically saying, why have you not done it my way? And my answer is because I've done it my way. And you know, that's my only answer. That's the only answer I'll ever be able to give to that question. It's because I did it my way. Without sounding too much like Frank Sinatra. Right, let's flatten that. We'll turn this into a wider waterway. So let's build it a little bit like this and this and this. So the plan here is to build a bridge that ends about there, I would say. In fact, we'll move it. We can move it back one tile. Because basically bridges can't cross over other bridges, but they can cross over the entry and exit to other bridges. So we can actually get away with, we'll just use brick viaducts because we're boring and bland. And then I can go and I can cut this away. And then I can cut this away. Then I can build this along like this. Something a bit like that. And then the waterway here, I could have probably made this bridge a little bit shorter. I also didn't line it up very well, did I? Because that's not where it needs to be at all. So what I've done there is done goofed. And actually, yeah, I will extend this out somewhat. Would you rather get a PS4, Xbox One or Nintendo Switch? I own an Xbox and a Switch. Already own them. I don't use my Xbox much at the moment because I'm still sorting out all my monitors and stuff, but yeah, I've had an Xbox for a long time. All my Fallout 4 videos were made on Xbox One. The Fallout 76 streams that I did were all on Xbox One. FIFA, PES, all those games were all done on the Xbox. The only thing I've not mentioned too much is my Switch. But then if you watch the XVI podcasts, I talk about the Switch a little bit there. And how I've used it. I have Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey. I do also have Let's Go Pikachu. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, but I'm not a big fan of what they've done with the Pokemon series now. So I've not played it yet because I was going to finish Breath of the Wild first, but now I'm thinking, like I'm basically obligated to play it because it was a present. I didn't buy it myself. So I will play it, but I don't know. I'm not sure if I'll enjoy it as much as the other Pokemon games. But yeah, that answers your question. I have an Xbox. I love my Xbox. I had a 360 as well. When I was a kid, I wanted a PS3 for Christmas and I got an Xbox 360 instead. And for like the first day, I was angry. And then I actually started playing it, and now I see the light, basically. I like my Xbox. You don't have to put what I mean in brackets as well, by the way. I'm an intelligent person. I know these sorts of things. Still haven't worked out what ID was on that speed limit sheet though, because I did ask you to tell me where it was and you didn't. So that's still the thing that boils my blood the most on my channel is when I mentioned DLR in a video and someone tried to call me out on the fact that I'd used an abbreviation that they didn't understand. Even though I'd already said DLR in that video, and that really wound me up. That was the beginning of the end for the comment section on my videos, was someone doing that, because I did nothing wrong. That's the thing, I did nothing wrong. It's one of these people that constantly wants to tell the world how smart they are, whilst at the same time acting like an absolute moron. As I said, I'm in a bad mood tonight. Justifiably. I'm in a bad mood. And no one else has joined the stream still. And so far, no one has shared the stream. So it's not looking good. Alright, how far is Wontford from... Oh, that's not too far. A couple more major-ish stations, and then we're pretty much there. Did I say for Sarnway I was going to build it through the middle? Probably did. It's going to be hard to put it on an embankment here, though. I think I'm just going to have to carve a hole through the middle. Like that. Didn't really want to do that, but I had no other option. So yeah, I'll keep asking the question. Do you guys actually want this series to continue? Because I'm getting very mixed messages from it right now. I'll give you till the end of this stream to actually answer that question. And I'd like everyone who is in the stream at the moment to answer that question. Because I might just be flogging a dead horse here. Right. That's that little embankment there done. Okay, that's one answer. What about everyone else? Right, that's that bit all connected up. So now it's basically a straight run east, no, straight run south. As I said, I want everyone to answer this question. Rather than asking me questions, I want everyone to answer the question that I said. Because people not answering my questions, it just feels like what I'm saying is being ignored. What is your favourite Pokemon game? What is your favourite Mario game? Also, ID shows up on Gardcity, Great Eastern, New Wayhill City. Ah! Yeah, okay, I know what that is. I'll answer your questions in order then. So, favourite Pokemon game? I'm old school, to be honest. Because, I mean, the first Pokemon game wasn't the best, graphically. But, I think it had one of the best sets of Pokemon. Like, first gen. If you weren't of that generation, then you'll always have a generation of Pokemon that you grow up with that you think is the best, and I think that's perfectly understandable. And you know, us oldies try to respect that as much as possible. But for me, first gen, you know, the TV show, the cards, the game. That's how I remember it. So, red, blue, and yellow were probably my favourite Pokemon games. I did also like Ruby and Sapphire, and I mean Silver and Gold were okay. Some of the modern ones though, you can tell where the focus has shifted slightly, and it's become more about, you know, being kid friendly, selling toys, things. I mean, Pokemon was always kid friendly, but you know what I mean, like how trends change and things like that. And you know, it's not really my scene anymore. But Pokemon, I think, will survive for a long, long time. And the fact that it's outlived most of its rivals that were supposedly better than it backs up that argument, really. See, I like Pokemon red, blue, and yellow, even though it was in black and white. And some of the features that are now well known and established in Pokemon games weren't a thing back then. I liked those ones. So the next one was, what was my favourite Mario game? I've only ever played Mario, I think it's Super Mario 2 or something like that on the Game Boy. And that was a long time ago as well. Besides that, until I play Odyssey, I don't think I've played any other Mario games. I've played Wario, the Game Boy Wario game, which again was alright. Wasn't the best game ever made, but I don't think it was the worst by far. It had some good features in it. An interesting Mario-inspired storyline as well, involving some sort of kidnapping and having to rescue someone. I wasn't that clued in on what was going on a lot of the time. And the level design did get a little bit repetitive after a while. But I'm not reviewing the game as such, because, you know, I spent a lot of my childhood playing that game. So I must have enjoyed it, otherwise I wouldn't have done it. So that was alright. Yeah, ID. That means if depot. So at New Wayhill City in Slenham, if the train is going into the Lakeside train care facility, the speed limit will be slightly different to all the other speed limits. I'm building and talking at the same time again. So yeah, it basically means if the train's going to the depot, then it will take a slightly different speed limit to if it was continuing on to Nuthill City Centre or north to Grundhead. Evening, hope the series continues because I find it relaxing to watch, enjoyable and also informative. Plus I like the theme of the map network. Yeah, that's the origin of this whole series, was no one really was building a network that was inspired by real life. And just the other day I was on the OpenTTD Reddit, and by the way, I'll make the disclaimer now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with what this guy was doing, but it annoyed me. Which pretty much sums up a lot of what inspires my series. So he made a tutorial on how to do signal logic. And it wasn't signal logic as in this, or this, or this. It was signal logic as in creating these weird junction combination type things so that certain trains have priority over others. And why anyone would need to do that, I don't really know. The other thing that annoys me is when people build these huge RoRo stations in their networks, because again, I don't find it realistic, and that's what annoys me. It's not because it's a bad design or anything like that. It works perfectly well for what they want to do, and it, you know, a lot of the time it looks kind of cool as well, but it's not realistic, and I don't like it because it's not realistic. So that's my thing, you know, building realistic networks. And I posted the Fort Flonwood Parkway build after that stream, and a lot of people were asking me on Reddit about, you know, what was the inspiration behind this. It must be carrying a lot of passengers if you've got all these connecting platforms. And once I'd explained it, you know, it's based on the UK network. There's a lot of real life inspiration gone into it. You know, each platform serves a purpose and things like that. And that's why I kind of feel like this series doesn't get the attention that perhaps it deserves, because it's something that no one else is doing. If I was doing something that other people were copying, then fair enough, shut me down. But I'm not. I'm doing something that's quite unique in the community, and I would like people to notice. For like, if someone's building their own network inspired by the real life network, and all they see is other networks that are in no way related to what they're doing, it can be a little bit off-putting. But to actually see that there's someone else out there that's doing the same thing can make a massive difference. Can make a massive difference. So that's the reason why I want this series to be successful, because I want more people to realise that there are like-minded individuals out there. Because it's a very lonely experience if you do something that only you really care about. So yeah, that's my thing. Maybe I should say that a little bit more often. But I do appreciate the viewers that I've got, and that's why I take the time to respond to questions, and that's why I take the time so that if someone leaves a comment and asks me something, I'll reply to it. If someone asks for help with something, I'll always try and take the time to actually help them through it, because at the end of the day, I was that person once. I was that person that was trying to find answers to questions and couldn't find them anywhere, so I decided to make my own series to answer those questions. You'll have to excuse me in a second because I need to turn my air conditioning on, because it's getting very hot in here and I'm getting a little bit lightheaded. I will try not to sit directly in front of the output. Alright, so this route is now signalled. Do you have a link to that forum, George? Because I think I need to start posting on there a little bit more often as well. I feel like the OpenTTD Reddit is good, but I feel like it's a little quiet at times. And sometimes if you have a burning question that needs answering, it can take a little while. Like when I had the question about order limits, I think it was like a day or two before someone actually got back to me. Yeah, also welcome to the stream, Andy. It's nice to see a new name. That's the other thing I was going to ask in this stream, actually, was what sort of things do you actually like? Because 2 weeks ago, I asked that question, and a lot of people said they liked route building. They liked seeing new stuff getting added, which is why last week and this week has been largely route building and road building and stuff like that. Oh yeah, send where's the best place? Private message me on Reddit maybe if you can and send it there, or last resort Facebook message. You might be able to post it on my Facebook page. I don't know what my rules are actually with posting links. Oh, there's a signal there. Yeah, I like route building. I don't like putting trains on the network now because of the new system that I've got, which is why I try and avoid doing that on stream, because it's not fun to watch. Like top corner, you can see I've got Great Northern trains that I'm putting on the network, and it's okay doing it that way. The problem I have with the Great Northern and the West Winds, is I'm having to change the depot as well, which is making life a little bit difficult. What do I want here? Bench, and then some shelters maybe. That and that. So yeah, the depot move, I found a way to make that a little bit quicker, but I still don't think it's interesting enough to put it on stream, because it's a lot of sitting around waiting for trains to fill a timetable basically, which isn't very interesting. I'll be the first one to admit that. But yeah, I'd like to know. That's why I say, what do you want to see on stream next week? Because at the end of the day, I want to do something that people are going to enjoy. Okay, I did say this was. Oh no, I did do Wontford, didn't I? For some reason, I thought I said it was going to Nuthill, which it's not. Yeah, I feel like this is going to get redone one day. Maybe not right now. So there's Wontford. So now we could go over this way to Nuthill. So yeah, the design that we've got is the one that's going to be used. So if you go on my Reddit, it's there somewhere. I'm going to have to try and find the picture myself. I'll go back to the forum thing in a second. So yeah, yesterday I posted a thing on Reddit called Ideas for the M4J Network in the M4J_gaming subreddit. If you want to know what that is, link is in the description down below this video, so check it out and reply to that, because that subject is going to stay open. In fact, can I pin it? Yeah, I'm going to sticky it so that it should appear at the top. I think that's how it works. I've not really used the mod things much on here. So use it. Ideas for the M4J network. Use it. Go on there, leave suggestions for what you want to see in future streams and episodes, because it might go back to me just recording episodes again if streams aren't popular. And we will use those ideas. Guaranteed those ideas will be used. So please, please use it. And just check all my social media every day, because force a habit, I tend to post things on Twitter, then copy it to Facebook, then copy it to Reddit. Sometimes, like Twitter, character limit is a bit limiting, funny enough. So I tend to shorten messages on Twitter, but the tweet is always the bulk of the message, and then the others are like little tidbits that I add just to make, add more flavour to the post, basically. But do check those every single day, because chances are I'll post something and you won't see it if you don't check it. So Munfingford Paragon Resub also has the Nuthill City Centre plan. Right. Can I get my head around this? Yes, I think I can. So that is the datum. That building and that road is the datum. So the current limit of the build, the southern limit, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tiles. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to put it there. That's the southern limit. I think it is that many tiles wide as well, which is what, 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, it's only 9 wide. Oh yeah, because that, yeah, okay. We'll take that one off. So that's the limit on the south, give or take. Maybe I'll move it one further down to be safe. I'll move it one further down to be safe, because we can eat into the depot site a little bit, these sidings, because they're not going to be used for anything else. The northern limit is harder to interpret. So there's that bridge there, and I think it's level with this road. So the entire station has been moved to the south by the looks of things. How did you do that? I'm not even sure how that was possible. So I'm probably going to put it like here. Like that. In fact, there won't be a northern limit because it's impossible to mark out without demolishing loads of buildings. So that's going to be the limit. So it's 9 by however many that is. Well, we can easily fit this design into that space. Even if I tinker with the design a little bit, that will fit in there easily. Yeah, let me try and find this forum post. Mainly so I can see where I can post in the future. It's under off topic. So on the home page I've got general OpenTTD, OpenTTD problems, suggestions, graphics, AIs in game scripts and development. So just general. Someone on the 8th of August at 9:47, so what, nearly 12 hours ago, actually asked if there was any OpenTTD streamers out there. I'll have to respond to that. Actually, can I? Unless someone else would like to do it on my behalf. Yeah, I can't find the off-topic section. You might need to post a link to the actual forum post just so I can see which area. Yeah, the reason I can't reply to this guy is because I've not got an account on the forums yet. I'm not going to set all that up while I'm on stream because it's a little unprofessional. Right. I think that was everything that I wanted to do for this stream, to be honest. We've done the rail, we've done the road, and we've done the planning. Ish. How long have we been going for? An hour 46. It's a pretty good time to start wrapping things up then. So yeah, I started negatively. I'm going to try and end a little more positively. The 3 people who are in the stream tonight who've, you know, said hi and chatted and things like that, you guys really are the reason I keep my channel going. Because at the end of the day, I have less than 1,000 subscribers, which is disappointing when you've been going for 6 years. But that does mean that there are currently 987 people out in the world that actually like what I do and want to see more of it, and a lot of the time are in sort of similar positions to what I was in, which was you have a passion, you have an ambition, you have a hobby, and no one else that you know shares that. So you go online and you try and find like-minded people there instead. And my big problem was no one built in the same style that I did, so I created my own series with no experience on how to be a YouTuber at all. And I'm still learning, don't get me wrong, still learning, still making mistakes too. A lot of editing mistakes and scheduling mistakes, as you saw this week. What pisses me off though is a lot of people used to tell me what to do when they were making my videos, but they're only talking from their own like subjective opinion, which is why I don't like the why questions, as I said, because when someone says why have you done it like this, what they're really asking you is why haven't you done it like this. And again, it's subjective. Some people's ideas are better than others, and some people are very narrow-minded and just want things to be done their way. And I'm a bit like that too. I won't lie. I'm a bit like that. Post a link on Reddit on the same post. Okay, I'll check it out. Thank you. But I do appreciate my viewers. I do appreciate each and every one of you. And, you know, 980 people is a lot to keep up with, but I try and answer questions, I try and talk to people. When I run my streams, no one's excluded from my streams, everyone is welcome. And I think the best evidence of that is when I used to do my Space Engineers streams. All someone had to do was ask if they can join, and within 10 minutes they were in the game with the rest of us. I think the maximum we had was like 30 people, all joining and leaving the same game at the same time, and that was awesome. That was a really good time. We did the same thing with Minecraft, 7 Days to Die, Rust, all kinds of multiplayer games. And my channel is open. So, you know, I have a racing series on GTA on Xbox One. It might be moving to PC in the future. I think Season 2 will still be on the Xbox, though. If you have an Xbox One, and if you own Grand Theft Auto 5, and you think that you can generate enough money in GTA Online to be able to buy the vehicles within a certain amount of time, feel free to ask if you can join, because I guarantee you the answer will be yes. The racing, I think, will be on Wednesdays. Again, there is actually a post on my Reddit community that details all of this, and I think I tweeted it as well and put it on Facebook. So there's plenty of places where you can go check this out. The details there will explain it a lot better than I'm doing right now. But please ask if you want to join, because you will be accepted, because I want people to join. My big worry at the moment is not enough people have joined for Season 2. So yeah, if you want to join, just ask. And I want this to work. I want this channel to work. I want this channel to be successful. And I want to be able to integrate it into everything else that I do. You know, I changed my degree course so I could be a better content creator. I think that shows dedication to be able to do something like that. But as much as I appreciate you guys, and as much as I want you guys to get involved, it really does, as I say, piss me off when people don't, and people ignore what I say, and people ignore what I request. So share the channel with everyone you know. Anyone, even if you don't think they're interested in transport or railways or anything like that. I have lots of other games on the channel that I play. And I'm not just talking about sharing this series, I'm talking about the channel as a whole, because it all rolls into one eventually. So currently my most watched series is this one, but I also have a train sim series, I have a Factorio series, a Planet Coaster series, a RimWorld series. Next week I'll have a Euro Truck Simulator 2 series as well. In the future I plan on bringing back City Skylines, Minecraft, as well as new series on Fallout and games like that. GTA, of course, with the racing series, and also just some messing around streams as well. I wanted to do the casino job. In fact, I did do the first 2 casino missions on a stream 2 weeks ago on Twitch that no one watched, which annoyed me. Football Manager in the future as well. Resort Boss Golf will also be coming back at some point in the future, because there's been a major update to that. Spyro will be returning, if I can drag myself to play that game again. Not because it's a bad game, because it takes a long time to record using the Xbox, which is why I don't particularly like making videos in that series, but I'll do it if people want me to. Plus I do want to play Spyro again, because I do love those games. Maybe even Cities in Motion as well, if enough people ask me for it, but those same people then have to do their bit to keep it, otherwise it'll end. But there's a lot of stuff, and if there's any other games that you want to see me play, ask me if I own it, and if I do, I might make some videos on it, because chances are I might get into it. You never know. But I need viewer support. I need viewer support, and financial is always good. Support me on Patreon is always the best way to do that, because you unlock tier rewards that are related to the series that are currently ongoing, plus ones that will be coming back in the future. So for example, if you support me $25 per month, you can name or rename a mainline route on the map. You can name or rename a franchise, and you also have a little bit of a say into what type of trains operate on it, what service schedules are, and things like that. You can name or rename 3 areas of Bar City, which is a city that I don't really talk about too much at the moment, but it's down here in the southeast of the map. It's the second capital, essentially, of this world, whatever this world is called. Plus you do get a little bit more influence on the channel as to what sorts of videos get made and things like that if you support me on Patreon. So that's always an incentive to do that. But you can also do one-off donations if that's more your thing. But if you can't support me financially for any reason, which is perfectly understandable, the best way to support the channel is to promote it. And help me promote it and help it be popular and successful. And that's always appreciated. That will never go unappreciated, because it's a big deal. To get to 1,000 subscribers as well would be a massive game changer, if you pardon the pun, of course. So yeah, please do help out as much as you can. And this is, I know I said last week would be the last time I say it, but this genuinely is the last time I say it. And if next week rolls around and I don't have any ideas from you guys for the stream, there won't be a stream. And if in a week or so's time I feel like the channel still isn't getting the support that I feel it should be, then it'll probably be cancelled. The series will be cancelled. The channel might even start winding down. And I really don't want that to happen, but as I said, XVI is picking up now, and we're starting to set deadlines and we're starting to work hard on those sorts of projects. So I'd rather know now whether I need to define more time to this, or whether I need to, as I say, wind it down and start working on XVI a lot more. And the only way I'm going to find out is from the way you guys respond to these sorts of messages. Gardcity is to London as Bar City is to Glasgow. Yeah, Bar City is more like Birmingham, as George says there. Plus also, Glasgow is technically bigger than Edinburgh, but Bar City would be more like Edinburgh, like the capital of another nation within this map, which actually would work with the lore of the map, to have this be a different nation to where Gardcity is, and somewhere. Come on, game, zoom out for me. Come on, game, zoom out for me. There we go. Bloody hell, this is slow. Somewhere up in the Midlands, have like a land border that separates the two nations from one another. That could work. We'll have to revisit that idea in the future. But yeah, as I say, this is the last time I'm saying it now. And next time, I might not even do an announcement. It might just end. And I always know when I do hard endings on my series like that, people always miss it. And I sounds a bit bad to say this, but I want that. I want people to realise that these things don't last forever. Because really, it is to shock people into realising that, you know, you've got to value something while it's there. And if you take advantage of it, chances are it won't be there for much longer. Which again sounds really bad when you say it out loud, but it's true. It's how a lot of content creators feel about their work. YouTube is a very frustrating thing to work with, because there's so many people out there that just try and take advantage of it, and it's just so tiresome having to deal with that all the time. So that'll be the end of this stream. Thank you to everyone who did come in and chat. Thank you to everyone who has supported the channel over the last 6 years, and hopefully will continue to support the channel over the next 6 years. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. That really does help out as well. And everyone who's hit the like button, go 2 buttons to the right and hit the share button as well. It is 2 to the right, isn't it? Yeah. 2 buttons to the right, hit the share button. Share it on Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, 4chan, Tumblr, blog, WordPress, whatever it might be. Any options you have, tick those boxes, and it really is appreciated. And if anyone wants to endorse me on the forums as well, that's also very much appreciated. And yeah, beyond that, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you have already subscribed to the channel, thank you guys for your continued support. And until next time, hopefully next week, I will see you soon.